OK, now the Assembly has voted for a freezing of the regional household rate for the next year. Non-domestic users, however, will face a below-inflation rise around 2.7% from April. Tell us more. The Finance Minister, Sammy Wilson, is here. Thanks for joining us. I know we have to be brief. OK, so the regional rate's frozen, no surprise there. Business rates go up with inflation. You're saying everything's good here at Stormont. You're blaming the local councils for putting up their rates?
Well, some local councils have kept their rate increases below inflation, some have put it above inflation. What I've been saying to local councils is that I would expect them to show the same restraint as we have shown, because of course the reason for freezing the rate is it is part of the Executive's response to the economic downturn. Many households are now finding that their income is reduced because overtime for those people who may still be in work has been reduced. Some people have lost their jobs, some people can no longer gain part-time employment, family budgets are under pressure, and this was part of our response to that.
You don't get any benefit from it though, do you, in the sense that the public really finds it hard to work out which rate is coming from a council, which rate's coming from Stormont, and if you're living in an area that's got an 8.7% rise, that's some of the highest there, they don't necessarily give you the credit for that, do they?
Well, I suppose that's and one of the reasons, of course, why I was hoping the debate today would be publicised, would be at least that on this is good news from the Executive for the third year in a row. In a response to the economic downturn, we have sought to reduce household rate bills, and some of those councils, of course, that have put their increases above inflation, there will be an increase in those areas.
The mitigating factor, apparently, talking to some councillors, is that they have had to face legislation about equalling pay for a lot of their employees, and that's what's forcing things up for them.
Well, you know, we've had the same at Stormont here as well. I mean, we've had equal pay requirements which have cost about £165 million, and we have sought by adjusting budgets to facilitate that as well. I mean, everyone has found increased costs. We've had a whole range of increased costs here, but we have tried to work that within the existing framework of revenue that we raise.
And of course it can't last though, can it? We've got rates will have to go up at some stage, and water rates too.
Well, I mean, Jim, and I've made this very clear today, this is our response to the economic downturn, but of course that revenue that we raise from the regional rate or money that we raised from other sources will be used to deliver public services. What I've been saying is that I want to see that the money that we get is spent as effectively as possible before we start dipping into people's pockets. But you know, it would be wrong to suggest, and people would become very cynical if you said that you could avoid rising rates forever. There are increased costs for public services. People equally want public services as well as low taxation, and it's a balancing act. The one thing, and I've made this clear today, that first of all we would seek to not just use revenue raising powers as a way of getting more money for the Executive. We would try and have efficiencies. We would try and make sure that at least people were given good warnings, so they weren't hit with, as under direct rule, huge increases in rates of 19%, so that they could plan ahead. And thirdly, that by having that certainty and having that transparency, people then could make judgments as to whether or not there had been good decisions made.
OK, well, we'll have to let you go, Minister. Declan Malone is already on his feet in the chamber, and I think it's your turn next. Thank you.